Welcome to Deeges and Dragons.
I thought this was going to be hard.
Welcome to Deeges and Dragons.
Who wants some of the Ripper?
They're state champs, baby. Woo!
Smoke heroes!
He's clearly Captain Crunch. I'm a man of the people.
Shattered world.
Ripper knows! Ripper always knows!
Degecast.
And welcome to another episode of the Degecast, the supplemental podcast for our YouTube show, Deeges and Dragons. Now, we're currently on our post-season hiatus, but that does not mean we don't have some cool things cooking for you guys. We have the Miracle gameplay that we've been slowly releasing over the past couple of months, as well as the thing that, well, we're here to talk about today. But before we get into all of that, let's get the table set, shall we? I'm your host, Nate Lindberg, and you can find me on Twitter at Nate Lindberg, and you can follow our brand on Facebook, Twitter, and most importantly, YouTube at DegeTime. Now, I'm not just one of the degenerates that founded DegeTime. If you're a wrestling fan, be sure to check out my work, pwtorch.com, on the PWT Talks NXT podcast, or one of my 2 weekly columns devoted to SmackDown and NXT, respectively. Now, one of the other 2 lovely faces that you see on your screen is my co-host, the other co-founder of DegeTime, our resident game master and psychology expert, Connor Daudette.
Hey, Nate, you have the juxtaposition of your speech speed to mine. It's like now it's just like blaring.
Yeah,
you got that. So, you went through that so fast, and I'm just like, hey.
Oh.
And now for the Quaalude report.
I thought Cecilia had the last Quaalude on Earth on the show Weeds.
Ooh.
I can't speak to that.
Nice that was a great show. It's a great show. Great show. I don't even know how that came into my head right now. However, now, lastly, but certainly not least, let's introduce the other person on the screen here.
Oh,
Somebody's
you smooth talker, you.
Shouldn't I, though? But he's not just been instrumental to this YouTube channel here in season 1 and the upcoming season 2, but he's one of the people leading the charge for Therapeutic role-playing games. He's a co-founder of the Bodhana Group, the organization putting on the first annual Therapeutic and Applied Gaming let me try that again. The first annual Therapeutic and Applied Geek Gaming Summit. Friend of the show, and heck, I'll even go so far as to say an honorary Deege. Jack Berkenstock.
Wow.
Oh,
welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me back. It is absolutely awesome. I'm actually, it's my third, I believe, appearance, because I did the regular 2-parter interview. Then I participated in the Pugmire session.
Yes. Technically, this is your second appearance because Pugmire is not out yet.
Oh, people know it's coming, though, right?
People do know
it's
it's
not
coming.
like I blew it. It's not my contract. I'm just gonna rip it up. Oh, no, it is wonderful to be back, and thank you for all the wonderful kind words about the impact and all that stuff. I mean, y'all are doing the hard work. The actual play and all that stuff.
I mean, if you can call playing the hard work, right?
Well, as far as hard work goes, it's pretty easy. Yeah, it's like a bumper sticker now.
Yeah,
but
so
yes.
So let's talk a little bit about TAGGS. What is the Therapeutic and Applied Geek Gaming Summit?
TAGGS is a collaborative conference-style event that was jointly started by us at the Bodhana Group and our very good friend Josue Cardona from Geek Therapy. Josue, if you're not familiar, he has been talking about expounding on the whole prospect and process of geek therapy in a very vibrant community, basically using things like video games, comic books, movies, TV properties, for therapeutic benefit. So it's whether it's like, themes or, just certain properties that like speak to clients, how to use those in therapeutic ways. He's been a very major proponent. He has his own, there's a Geek Therapy podcast, Geek Therapy community on Facebook. Basically, he and I, who have been, friends and colleagues for years, basically are kind of catching up one day, and we went, well, it would be, really thinking about running something kind of like, Safe Against Fear, which of course Bodhana runs every year. Mm-hmm. We have room for panels and workshops, designed for professionals. But with all the gaming going on the weekend, we were kind of like, man, we really wanted to have something that was a focused space specifically just for these professional topics. And they're really, up until this point, they're really, that we were aware of, wasn't really a major conference space for this kind of idea. So basically, with Bodhana having a lot of the contacts within the board game and the role-playing game sphere, and we know that there are tons of therapeutic applications there, and with Josue and the Geek therapy community having all of the connections to people within the video game industry, as well as folks who are using geek culture as therapy, we thought, wow, why not Wonder Twin Powers activate, and try, although I hate to use Ann and Jaina as a reference, like that, the creepy alien Osmonds that they were back from the 70s, 60s and 70s, right? But we thought, why don't we combine forces here with the expressed intent of bringing professionals as well as people who are students learning about this process, whether it is using video games or using comics or whatever. There's so much crossover, right? Like, here I am, the guy that literally has a Green Lantern behind him. Yeah, obviously there's lots of crossover, when we talk about this, but we wanted a space where we could have people talking about all of the work that they're doing. Whether you are a drug and alcohol counselor who's, using, board games to pull people away from addiction or from, the crowd that they use with, whether you're a community leader who's running groups at just your local community center, whether it's role-playing games or whether you're a practitioner who's using any of these modalities. One of the biggest things that we talk about a lot in the field is the fact that so many people in emergent practices don't talk to each other. Everybody kind of has this mine, I don't want to talk. It's that weird thing of, well, I don't want to talk about my screenplay because someone might steal it. Yeah. The likelihood of your screenplay getting stolen is practically non-existent. But in this field, it's even most important that we converse with other professionals so we can develop a professional standard amongst people who are utilizing this. You have all it takes is one practitioner to go completely, rogue off the rails here who isn't following in, and it kind of gives the whole practice a bad name. And there's already so much work being done to legitimize this as a relevant and meaningful form of therapeutic interaction. People are like, oh, Jack, you do RPGs, so you're just trying to prove to mom and dad that it wasn't a waste of time, right? No, that's not it at all. That it starts with a theoretical orientation, and all those other domains that I mentioned are no different. You don't just say, well, Among Us is cool, so I'm going to play that with clients. No, you have therapeutic goals and you have a process. So let's teach other professionals how we're using these modalities, how we're using these approaches, so we can share ideas, so we can share successes, share pitfalls, so we can help bring the entire field up together. So that was kind of the idea of creating TAGGS, which was to create that space. And obviously there was a perceived need for it. I mean, we have a ton of people already signed up for our first year. We have over 60 events that are planned. We have over 70 speakers from all kinds of different domains. I mean, we got folks who are doing direct care. We got folks in education. We got panels on gender identity. We have panels on autism supports. We have panels from folks in Germany and New Zealand. This is an international event that we're building. So it's very exciting so far,
Yeah, this is really
just the first year. Yeah.
Yeah. No, this is awesome. This is awesome. I mean, I'm loving everything I hear about this, and the collaboration, all of it. Yeah. And well, there is certainly going to be some Deej interaction at TAGGS, where we're going to be running Goblinville. We're going to be doing a live play at Goblinville, kind of similar to like we did with Clink during Save Against Fear this past year. We're going to have a live game where Tony, who is not with us tonight, but he will be here for that game. Tony and I will be sitting behind the scenes, kind of playing some some music and some sound effects and things like that, making it a much more immersive experience and letting you guys actually be goblins and play and have a good fun time. Conrad running the game.
Yeah, well, one, it should be very fun. But two, I think it's just something kind of different, like than what they would expect. If you watched our play of Goblinville, then you know that it's certainly not the norm. You expect to be somebody, at least semi-heroic, typically when you sit down to play an RPG, have some sort of like extra powers or bonuses and what have you. But like here, you're not only a goblin, but you're also broke. Like you're trying to make scratch, doing basic jobs and going on your quests, and like the going on your quests, like on our playthrough, we ran into baby giant death geese, which may have just been regular geese.
They might have just been regular geese,
but they were deemed by us giant baby death geese.
Yeah, and baby giant death geese. Yep.
Maybe they were all the geese that were trying to escape from Scrooge. Because remember, he was like, "Buy me the fattest goose of all in London," and he like throws. They're like, "We're getting the H out of here." Like, we don't want to be cooked up for Christmas morning.
That certainly could be. That could be.
Yeah.
This sounds so. You're literally a broke goblin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just going on stuff.
And it's great. So like in our playthrough, we all had different roles. So our buddy Dan was the chef of the group. His name was Stump. He was supremely old. He was like as old could be for a goblin. I don't know exactly how old that is for a goblin.
It's a gray beard. They don't have numbers. They just kind of have like ranges. General age ranges. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was and every time all he could cook was soup. Or stew, I think it was soup, but something like that, soup or stew. And every time he'd cook it, somebody would die. It was actually like a big deal if he would actually make a meal that wouldn't kill somebody, at least one person. If he had. That
was like his claim to fame. He's like, I once cooked a soup that killed nobody. Yeah, because it's just so bad. But Nate's character. Get Nate's character.
I was gonna
hornblower.
I was gonna circle around in mine, but the hornblower. My character was called the hornblower. Now, what do you think the hornblower is? Hey, that was good. I didn't add that. I didn't put that sound effect in. That was all.
I come with my own sound effects.
That's great.
Why I spent most of my time in the vice principal's office.
Hey, but no. So what the hell were we just talking about? That just completely threw me off guard.
What do you think the hornblower does?
Hornblower. Yeah, the hornblower blows the horn. And that's it. Like that's just my job in the town. I blow the horn. If there's something near, like I gotta warn people, I blow a horn. Or if I just want to blow the horn, I blow the horn. And there was this one time I got super excited to blow the horn. I got boom right into my left eye and poked it out. So I'm wearing an eye patch. Tony's character is a ditch digger that can't dig any further than 4 feet. And we end up we get stuck in a hole that's 49 inches deep and we can't get out of it because Tony can't dig out 49 inches. Only 48 inches. And then our buddy Alex, who had never played an RPG in his life. The night before we were all talking about it, he actually thought it was a board game he was coming to play. He didn't even realize it was an RPG until he like almost pretty much showed up. But he was down for it. He played it. He actually bought his own set of dice after, but he came up with a wizard by the name of Sneef.
A witch
by the name of Sneef, and who cured the common sneeze. And that was his claim to fame. But we're all these you're these broke goblins, just part of this village trying to survive, trying to live. And when you first start, the village is pretty much decimated. It's destroyed. There's nothing really there, just some huts and whatever. And you go on quests to build your village up. And that's the game.
Wow.
Yeah. Everything you have all these set buildings that you want to essentially unlock by having somebody who is capable enough to run it. So, like the warg pens, like the, woodcutter. And so like we had Stump, who was like the one feeding people, and it wasn't going well. So like that was the main quest for them, was like, we want to get an actual cook in here to be able to feed us.
Wow.
So we went and we found his old boss. That was the quest, was to go find his old boss who had somehow disappeared.
So yeah, I think like you can tell by the epicness of their accomplishments that, and that's again like kind of like why we focused on like the depression aspect, is because it's like the expectations are low, even in like the role playing. It's like, we don't expect anything of you. Like, you just
it kind of sounds like a Dr. Nick Riviera version of the Kingmaker series. Like, if you can't afford Kingmaker, try Goblinville. Like, it's just like such a weird like alternative like Civ.
It was
playing game. My God.
It was probably one of my favorite games to shoot. It was the last game we actually got to shoot in person before the pandemic hit. So which kind of sucks, but we had a blast shooting it. And it just the game itself, like the footage itself is hilarious. So I'm glad we chose this. And like, and afterwards, of course, we're going to have a bit of a therapeutic wrap up. So Conrad's going to, we're going to have questions and answers. So if you have questions about whether it be therapeutic gaming in general, the gameplay, Goblinville, anything else involving whatever, hell, you got questions even not involving it, you just want to ask, go ahead. We'll try to answer them. I can't guarantee we'll give you the right answer, but you can try. But yeah, we'll have that, and then kind of do a bit of a therapeutic wrap up with all the players and things like that too. So
it's very collaborative as well. Like mechanically, it has all these built-in collaborative aspects. So like despite like we're looking that we're going to have more than just the adventure party, and I think that's going to be okay. Like like as viewers, like there will be opportunities to participate, just because like it inherently encourages communication to one another, as well as like coming up with things as a team.
Well, it also seems like it would be like really kind of like silly and accessible for younger kids.
Oh yeah,
because it seems so open for, and that honestly, I mean, this is one of the things that I really like zing to with you guys when we originally started kind of getting together. It's also another kind of sideline passion Bodhana wise, is the fact that everybody knows about D&D, everybody knows about Pathfinder, but there's so many great systems out there that have different mechanics and different, just the lean of the system in and of itself speaks a different message through mechanics and what you're trying to do. Like it also seems like kind of an interesting kind of way, like you have the Quiet Year where you're also doing this collaborative like town building adventure as it progresses, but it just seems more silly and kind of just it can kind of go anywhere it would want to go, which I really love the opportunity to let folks know about other systems that are out there. So pleased to have you find folk or I'm sorry, you Deeges. And I was just thinking to myself, I spent so much time in the vice principal's office. I probably am an honorary Deej. I just never realized it. I did want to say one of the other things that we're very proud of with TAGGS this year is our inaugural theme, which is community. Everybody has a seat at the table. That speaks to inclusion. It speaks to different layers and levels of professional that are kind of coming to this event, whether you're new to this idea, whether you're experienced in this idea. We truthfully do believe that everyone who is interested in doing this, passionate about doing this, even again, not having that direct interest, but knowing the benefits, the way that you guys speak on your show about the therapeutic benefit with such passion. We even have, there's another person, she's known as Mama Foxfire. She's a mental health advocate who has her own podcast. She's going to be doing a session or two. So it's not only professionals The Our Family Plays Games podcast is going to be doing a session. They speak a lot about, specifically gaming for the African American community. I also am going to be moderating a panel. It's a content creator panel starring, and I hope you'll pick up what I'm laying down here. Basically, it's 3 comic book, cartoon, and video game content creators from like the last 30 to 40 years. So first off to the panel is Mr. Larry Hama, who, if you're a comic book fan, you may know he's responsible for Nth Man, the modern iteration of G.I. Joe. Like, we wouldn't have Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow if it were not for Larry Hama. If you ever loved your G.I. Joes with the little dossier in the back, Larry wrote those. Like, he has been a comic book creator. He actually also ran Crazy Magazine for a while, which I know I might be one of like 18 people that remembers Crazy Magazine. But so Larry is one of the content creators. Buzz Dixon, who was responsible for Thunder the Barbarian, wrote also for G.I. Joe, Transformers, as well as
and
Christy
he's just
Marks.
got an amazing name.
Oh, yeah. Buzz Dixon? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And Christy Marks, who did Gem, Transformers. She worked on Quest for Camelot. Ton of great content creators. So we're basically going to be talking to them saying, you've been creating IP and content for like 30, 40 years. What's the responsibility of people creating settings, characters? Did you all think about representation back when you started in the way it is now? How has the industry changed? What responsibility? So we have a lot of very cool things. So it's not just therapists and educators. We're trying to also increase the amount of other voices because, like I said, everyone has a seat at the table.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess I should go ahead.
No, I was going to say because and you alluded to this earlier, and it kind of just really clicked in my head, which it doesn't make sense because you basically said it, but it just clicked in my head that this is Save Against Fear is primarily therapeutic gaming, RPG gaming, and board gaming, things like that. This has a much broader audience, much broader spectrum, and which is cool. And as far as I'm aware, this does not really. There's not anything really like this. So this is, this is cool. This is really cool.
I mean, it's basically if you go to like, Save Against Fear, if you go to MagFest or, even things like, San Diego Comic-Con, there are panels at these events about therapeutic gaming and the impact of comics and anime and stuff like that. But having that be the central focus of one event is really something that we haven't really seen outside of like, well, here's a day-long symposium or, like these kind of little smaller events. So we really wanted to try to create something that was getting larger amounts of people together. And like we said, for our first year, we have a phenomenal smattering of events. Some great stuff that the event itself will be over the weekend of April 9th through the 11th. So it's a little bit over a week away. Tickets are still available at www.taggsummit.org. So folks can go there. Oh, it's down there. Beef prices going up, orange juice down.
Sell.
Where's that stock of that veggie game place? So yeah, it's going to be an incredible weekend. It's been a lot of great work, and I want to in advance thank all of our panelists and presenters who have submitted some fantastic topics that you can also, by going to their website, check out what we have available, and to become a part of this, as we are hoping already to make the plans for a second year of TAGGS, just because of the overwhelming support that we've had so far. So
now for the second year of TAGGS, are you going to try to plan to have this be a physical event, or try to still keep it virtual so you can still have it be like an international thing like you were talking about earlier?
I'm honestly, I think a hybrid. I mean, if I am sad to say and glad to say in the same breath that like Save Against Fear this year, even though it's in October, we're still going to be rolling with the virtual for this year. We
Yep.
just feel that,
That's the way to do it.
yeah, I mean, where we're going to be, but we're even going to be doing in the future, and probably with TAGGS as well, a hybrid event. So we'll have in person, but also looking at ways that we could bring in people internationally to panels via video feeds and like have an assisted moderator or something of that sort. Because I think, I mean, there's a couple of benefits, and I know that sounds weird to say, that I think what we've had as a society through our experience of the pandemic, and one has been just bringing people closer together, oddly enough, through something that people are initially pretty pissed off that they had to deal with. People are like, flipping Zoom. And granted, we're all zoomed out at this point to some degree. Like, kids are like, what, I got to play D&D on Zoom now? Like, I couldn't just, like, I'm in school on Zoom all day. What the H?
Yeah.
But I really do think that this idea of, how many people that, Bodhana has connected with doing international trainings now, because we've upgraded our training regimen. We're running all of our trainings online, and we have a whole webinar series that we've launched, not only for professionals, but free webinar content for the community. So, there's just a ton that I think we've learned that we can get closer. Maybe virtual isn't the best way, but I think we're humans, we're social animals. And as much as people want to deny that we need each other to be Mr. Iconoclast or whatever, I think we found the value of connection through not having it the way that we wanted it. And I hope we never lose that. Sincerely, even if it's just getting together over a Discord chat or a Zoom call, it's important to connect with others. So let's keep that connectivity going. That's what's going to propel us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's one of our themes.
Yeah. As it is.
Yeah.
But no, I'm really looking forward to this. It's going to be a great time. I want to check out a couple of the other events too. I don't remember which ones they were offhand. I was scrolling through the list and I was like, this all seems really cool. It's interesting.
It's kind of surreal. Like I know that at least you, Nate, also went with me. Like, so we were at PAX last year, and like we sat down, we saw a panel that was put on by Adam Davis and Dr. Kilmer, and they are going to be presenting at TAGGS, and it's like. It's kind of like a weird thing where it's like, oh, we were like just last year, we were like sitting down watching you. You're right, man. Yep. I can't believe that was February last year. It was the beginning of February last year. It was PAX. just over a year.
Like, it seems like it was a lifetime ago at this point. But this whole thing has been surreal, to be honest. Like, I mean, we're still a small YouTube channel, right? I think as of this recording, 256 subscribers. But it's, we wanted 100 subscribers by the end of the first year. We just hit the end of the first year, and we're more than double that.
Nice.
So it's like the things like that, our connection with you and connection with all these other developers and things like that, just things that we couldn't even fathom a year ago. And really just kind of through networking and meeting people in that communication that you're talking about, things happen, things happen.
Yeah,
and that's why we're sitting right here now.
Yeah. And that's a great segue for season 2 and talking about that, I think, because again, like these connections that we've made, again, thanks to Jack. But I mean, we're starting off with Barack is running RetroStar for us. And I think that was awesome.
It's an amazing game. That
was phenomenal.
Well, I originally met Barack through a superhero game that I was playtesting at the time. My good buddy James Kirk used to be a part of a podcast called the Grown As Gamers podcast, and they were reviewing a game that Barack had made called Capes, Cows, and Villains Foul, which was a superhero game. So if you're into soups, I highly recommend it. But just in that interview, it was like, oh yeah, and I'm working on this thing called RetroStar. And I was like, yeah, what's your elevator pitch? And he told me cheesy 70s sci-fi. And I was like, take my money. Take my money. Yeah. And I've actually had the joy of, and hopefully at any future Save Against Fears, we're going to get you all down in person to the event. Barack, he's one of our board members. So he always comes down to Save, supports it, and he always runs. a massive RetroStar game for like all of us. He ran one year, which was, imagine if G.I. Joe was a live action television show in the 1970s.
Okay.
So he cast this G.I. Joe show with all of these 70s actors. I had the honor of playing Chuckles, the undercover cop, played by Rich Little. So we were playing RetroStar, and I'm like, of course, doing, all of Rich Little's, who favors, thanks, Ed. That's wild, weird stuff, So I got to play all these cheesy impersonations, but the joke was that Jackie Chan was playing Snake Eyes to David Carradine's Quick Kick. And the joke was that they were always like at odds with overstepping each other in this adventure, but Jackie was an unknown, so he was in the masklet, like the faceless mask. You couldn't see his face, but he was always doing more than David Carradine was. So it was just this great joke around the table, but Barack poured so much effort into making all of these characters based on 70s, like actual, like stars, like Lee Marvin and like all these people from that time. So yeah, Barack goes all out when he does anything. So I'm so eager to see those live plays with him.
Yeah. He did a phenomenal, because he same thing. He put a ton of effort into this. I mean, at least that's what it seemed like anyway. But a really immersive world, and super generous with his time. We had one of our players had a bit of an emergency, had to drop off, and then we had to reschedule, do it another day, and so it was he was great in that regard. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. Yeah,
I know the event. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I know the show that he ran for you guys. So yeah, if you're viewers out there, it's gold. It's gold. Absolutely.
Just finished editing it.
Let's say, yeah, it's like basically like ready to go, and that'll be our premiere.
That's gonna be the season 1 or season 2 premiere, which we still, just a full disclaimer, we still don't have a date yet for everybody for season 2 because Nate found a game called Valheim, so that's been a thing. Just saying. Nate's got to get back to editing.
I like how you're speaking in the third person to separate yourself from your addiction. That's a very good strategy. I like that. Like that. Nate.
You can see right about where's my finger? Right about there. There's a laptop. That's my Valheim server. There's probably at least 6 or 7 people playing on it now. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Valheim is a great game, by the way.
I like how Conrad's face is how he's planning the intervention. Like, right? That's what I'm seeing on his face. It's automatic, like, so how can I trick Nate into a room? Maybe I should, get him a Viking present of some kind, and maybe that'll trick him. I don't know.
But no, so... but no, it was like we were talking about. So yeah, RetroStar is going to kick it off, and then we got Pugmire coming. I think Pugmire is probably going to be the second game, and then I think I'm going to shoehorn No Thank You Evil into the third, because we had so much fun playing that game, and I had so many ideas for editing it while we were playing it. I think I'm going to shoehorn that in a little earlier in the season.
Were you guys was it with Shauna? Was she able to join you?
No, Conrad did run it for us. He did run it for us. But
no, it's an incredible. You see it right back here. It's
there it
one
is.
Of my favorite systems. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Oh, I absolutely loved it. And mostly because it's a game for kids, and so it was easy to understand.
Well, it's also good because it's like Numenera Junior.
Yeah.
It literally, you're a blank who blanks. You still use the same character creation concept, but yeah, just kids being able to make anything that they want. And the worlds are so wonderful and creative. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to be a solid fan on season 2. Heck, I'm even in some of it.
You are.
Yeah. No Thank You Evil was the final game. So it was like the most recent game, and that's what, like, Nate's just too excited. He's got to like kick it all the way back into like the third slot there.
Yep. Because we've got it all filmed. We've got all of season 2 filmed at this with the exception of Teens in Space, which we do have to we had to postpone that because I think there was a snowstorm or something that day and people lost power or something. I don't remember, but we had to postpone it and do it a different day, and we haven't come back to it yet. But Teens in Space is going to be we're actually, because we're taking our characters from Kids on Bikes and we're launching them into space. First of all, we get the same cast members from that are willing to play, but we're adding a cast member. We're adding a player to the game. So we're going to have 5 people playing. My little sister, Heather, is going to be playing her very first RPG ever, and she's going to be doing it right here on the show. So I'm looking forward to that. She keeps asking me about it. She like, because like my sister and I would say this to her face because she would also agree with me. She's a bit of a flake sometimes. She can be a little bit of a flake. So I kind of figured when she wanted to play, I would maybe not hear about it again. But no, she keeps asking me like, when are we going to do this? Like, I want to go to space. So
that's awesome.
I can't wait. I can't wait to actually get her to sit down and play this.
Yeah, no, and Teens, I mean, being a fervent fan of the entire Kids On series, I was able to do speaking of those webinars that we do, I was able to do an interview with Doug a few weeks back for a webinar talking about Kids on Bikes, Teens in Space, and Kids on Brooms, the entire series, and what makes it therapeutic. You know, it's our like very deep dive on it, but yeah, we actually are using Teens in Space in one of our transitional age population groups, and we love talking about like, you know, what the different races are and how they interact. We just had this whole story where they're on a cat and dog planet and they're seemingly at war, but what they didn't tell them was they just counted coup. Like they just played like tapsies. So literally they're an adventure and one of the players is like, I stab him in the throat with my spear. And like one of the dog people are like, oh my God, what are you doing? This is like, he's rushing to med save his friend. And they're like, you're at war. And he's like, not like this. And like another one like gets hit in the head with a rock and he literally just gets off of the laser turret and sits down like, you got me, you know, you tag. Okay. And they're like, what is going on this planet? My Lord. So just such a great system with so much player creation. Oh, wow.
I was muted. I tend to do that. No, I as do I. I love that whole. I mean, all I've played so far is kids on bikes. So Teens in Space will be the next one. But like you're going through that, talking with Doug. I had Doug on the show here. Sat down. I think it was right after Christmas. Actually, I had him here on the Degecast, and talking about just talking about the games, and I can't wait to actually sit down and play Kids on Brooms when we get a chance. I think we probably do that for season 3.
I want to play Kids on Brooms.
Please give me a call on that one. We're all right. We're getting ready to run a homebrew, or not a homebrew, but our own funsies game using Kids on Broom. It's the only one in the series I haven't played yet.
Oh, nice. Yeah, no, we'll definitely keep you informed. We'll keep you posted. But was there?
I said I do want to say the game for season 2 that actually for 2 different reasons. The 2 games I'm most excited about. One is Early Dark because that like is like my game. It's so crunchy and so ridiculous. Like I couldn't even believe the depth of it. And like Calvin's like going through it and we're like, geez, we haven't even gotten through like a third of the rules yet. And we're like 5 hours in.
Oh my God. That's gonna be fun to edit.
In like combat, I didn't quite grasp how combat in itself is like, it's like a battle against the GM because you're like trying to outsmart them. Like you build like they're called TAGGS and like you build different number TAGGS and they have different effects, but like the same ones will cancel out. So you have to be like, like I think because the GM's like also trying to beat you like while this is happening. So you're like, I think he might play this one because that might do the most damage. But so if I line these ones up, then like I can get in like these bonuses against him. But then it's like, oh, actually, I knew you were going to do that, so I canceled them out. And it's just like... It's
wicked.
There's so many layers.
Yep.
So I'm excited about that for that. But then for the sheer ridiculousness and true
I know what you're gonna say.
it's Cartoon Action Hour.
Yes.
It's Cartoon Action Hour. So like I don't know if they knew or not. I thought I tricked them. I sent them all cartoon character creation sheets that like I made up. Yep, there it is. So I like made up like a sheet to be like, all right, fill in all of this stuff so you make your own cartoon. Then I'm gonna like smash them all together to like make an ultimate cartoon. But what I ultimately did was have 5 different cartoons that made up a Saturday morning. So we just like went series after series.
Oh,
It was so good. And it was
it's
all
the
it was
Sunday morning power hour.
and it was so great because it was all the ideas that we came up with. So like, you know, all of a sudden there's I don't know if we want to give away spoiler. We could talk off air, I guess, and kind of fill you in.
Yeah.
But you know, so it's like, you know, the game that like Tony comes up with, you know, we get to that game, and so he's all excited to play it and everything because it was his brainchild. And then, you know, the one I came up with was my brainchild, obviously. So I'm super excited about it, and it was that was a little bit of a special one there. But there, you know, it just. I don't even know what I'm trying to get at here. The whole Cartoon Action Hour series that he put together was just so much fun. And the ideas that John B comes up with, where the heck?
Man, he really rivals me, I think.
Oh my
like,
God.
I come up with some zany stuff, but like John B, he's pretty zany.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's crazy.
Well, but to be honest, between RetroStar, Cartoon Action Hour, and Stories from the Grave, which is also from Spectrum Games, but that's like, I don't know if I ever told you about that one. It's another one that, you know, Cynthia and the great folks at Spectrum, it's basically EC Comics, the role-playing game. So you create little vignette like stories that are like these little moral lessons. And like, if you're a fan of EC Comics and like, you know, Tales from the Crypt, all that stuff, it's a wicked awesome game. Like it's amazing the way that you play with the same core kind of 3-stat array that they use within, you know, RetroStar as you know, it's the same mechanic, but you're playing out these moral stories of, you know, careful what you wish for kind of a thing. But it's such a love letter to the genre of I'm trying to think of the name of it, where you had the type of fiction. My gosh, I can't even think of this name. Where you have like where you know, when you have like Twilight Zone the movie, an anthology series kind of a thing. I guess that's what they maybe call it.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I can't think of it, but it's another good one in the series that plays on like the old grotesque horror things.
Yeah.
It's actually my first published RPG credit. I wrote a story starter for one of their expansion books. So,
nice.
Yes, I love
Awesome.
anything that Spectrum Games touches, including their upcoming game Biff Bam Kapow, which emulates cheesy 60s superhero properties like Batman and the Green Hornet. So
That's
it's
fantastic.
I
don't remember. Somebody's told me about that. I don't remember if it was Conrad or if it was Barrick when we were playing the game, or playing RetroStar. I don't remember, but somebody's told me about that, and I'm like, I want to play. I want to play that.
It
whether
covers
it's
your
for the
whole
show or not.
Saturday.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, it's Saturday morning cartoons to cheesy horror movies in the afternoon, all the way to your sci-fi programs at night. So it's an entire Saturday lineup, folks. Yeah,
Beautiful.
It's amazing.
And that's what we need during COVID.
I'm actually really excited about like every game that's coming out. I'm really excited about Ripe. We've talked about that plenty. I'm really excited
Ripe.
about
So are you not familiar with Ripe, Jack?
No.
So Clink, right? The guy David Shadowan who created Clink. He came up with the game called Ripe, which I think is it alpha? I don't remember if it's actually. I don't know if you can buy it or not yet. I don't remember.
Well, it's you can download it for free at this point.
Okay, so it's available. It's available.
Yeah, it's not the complete version.
Okay,
but I think the last download I was like version 53. He's like
wow.
constantly updating it.
Yeah, no,
So-
he does. He's always working on his stuff. But you don't play like kind of almost like Goblinville. You don't play your traditional hero type character. You play a really old person. But you have this like you deal with arthritis and you deal with hearing loss and things like that. But then you also have another side of you that's like super powerful, like almost like a superhero that's built within you or something like that. I don't know if that was just for your game or if that was actually part of the rules.
No, that's
itself. But
yeah. So like it's a little bit different, like however you set it up. But the coolest part about it is that you have this inventory system that, like when I say inventory, it's kind of like the Kids on Bikes backpack. Like it's both like literal and figurative, like what you carry with you. And like one of the examples I give, like when we're playing, is like when you get to a certain age, like you start to become incontinent. And up till that point, like socially, like that'd be like incredibly embarrassing. And like, you would like really recoil like at like, oh my gosh, like what do I do? But then, and that's something like you carry, that's like a burden that you're carrying. And you get to an age where it's like, do I have time for that? And it's like, no, like why do I care about that anymore? I can't worry about that. Like I got to worry about a million other things that I've got going on. And you only have so much room to worry, with like your stacking ailments. And so you can do work to remove like things like that.
yeah.
So taking up like the same inventory slots, you have burdens as well as the like cool heroic stuff. So I guess let's just do Nate's for an example. Like we'll skip the others, but Nate, give your character.
So my character was actually based off of my grandparents. My grandparents had two best friends. It was like a Ethel and Lucy, and Fred and Ricky type of a thing. They were Hilda and Harold. And I based it off of Harold. Harold was an avid golfer, and he was also the jazz drummer in my grandmother's jazz band. My grandmother used to play organ and piano in a jazz band. So he was I forget what I called. Oh, Nine Iron. I think I called him Nine Iron. Was his like superhero persona, but like he's when he's just normal Harold, and I think I maybe even played him as Harold too, as the name. I don't remember. But when he was just his normal self, just bald, a hair growing out of his ears, kind of shuffling along, whatever. But then like he becomes Nine Iron. He takes out this like golf ball and throws it down on the ground, and then poof. And he like has all of a sudden has like this 9-iron club, and he's got this green spandex jumpsuit on with a giant 9 on it.
Oh,
And we fight crime,
and effectively,
oh my God.
Yeah,
his like instead of saying Shazam, it's like Titleist, and they just like bounce it.
I had something. Oh, I think I said 4. I think I might have just said 4. I'm not. I said something. I said something.
You definitely
I know
did.
that.
You definitely did.
Oh.
So yeah, everybody starts with like one thing that's just adjective noun, and you can make those whatever you want, and you gain abilities related to it. And it's supposed to be like your like years of experience have essentially granted you something superhuman. Wow.
Yeah,
a lot of room.
You thank me for all of the different suggestions. Like you've given me so many games to add to my repertoire, and I've actually like started looking on like itch.io to look for like other weird one. There's this weird one I found out recently called Lewd Grannies. It's not as bad as you think it might be. It's basically this game where you're a bunch of old ladies who get out of the old folks home for a night because you're going to someone's wedding, but you each have a vice. So your vice is like how you're gonna get, like how you're gonna have fun at this wedding. So basically, you create this character. Your goal might be hook up with a young bridesmaid, or get drunk and lose your teeth in the punch bowl. Like all these weird things that you want to do to have fun as like this lewd old lady. So,
oh my God.
Now, your resolution mechanic is played out via a bingo card. So
That's
you,
even better.
yeah, so you have the numbers from 1 through 20, and when you go to do a thing, you roll the die and you get to mark that square off on your board. And if you get a bingo, that's awesome. But if you fail at your attempt to create mischief, you get a certain number of fails as a group before everyone's like, all right, the biddies go home. It's done. And so it's such a unique system, but it's one of these indie things. You can get it on itch.io. And there's another one that's like horny pappies or something, where it's a bunch of old guys in the mall doing a similar thing. And they use a bowling scorecard for the resolution in the game. So it's the same designer. I can't remember the name offhand, but again, if you like that, like weird, jokey, because you basically role play parts of a wedding and you're doing your mischief while the wedding is happening. I actually skinned it for a friend's 10-year-old son, where he was at a birthday party trying to raise hell before his mom got called to take him home. And so it was like, drink all the root beer and throw up on the presents, or convince the birthday boy to let you play with his brand new toy first. Like all these things that kids would do at a party. I love games that twist the genre like that. And
yeah,
I would say you guys helped like get me even more into that, like looking for the weird and the unique. So I thank you as much as you thank me.
I love the weird and unique. I know we both do. So yeah, you know, some of these games that we've come across is just like, my God. But
season 2 sounds amazing, guys.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm in the middle of. Sorry, go ahead, Conrad.
The only game that we haven't mentioned, I think, is just Mashed, which
Mashed. Yep.
I think we do need to mention, since we mentioned
we've talked about them all. Yeah.
And Mashed is basically like our serious game. Like, you know, now like looking at all of them, you know, which you tell me, like I thought that it ended up being very tense for having no combat whatsoever.
It definitely was. And, you know, like there was a scene where I forget who it was performing surgery, and, you know, and it's like the clock is counting down. I don't remember all the mechanics of it because we played so many different games in a very short period of time. But I remember, you know, the clock's ticking down, and I remember, like, you know, he's going to save this guy. Is he not going to save this guy? You know, and but it was cool. It was definitely different. I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm a giant fan of the show MASH. My dad was. It was always on. Like I've watched a ton of it.
MASH is actually on in the background right now in my house. I'm on my 42nd watch through of MASH on Hulu.
Hey, you know, that's The Office for me, man. That's The Office for me.
Yeah,
The
that's
Office
Arrested Development for me.
Yep. The Office and Scrubs. Like I've watched those so many times. But what was I just talking about?
You were talking about is the guy going to make it? Is he not going to make it?
Right. Yeah. So there was no combat or anything in this. It was all storytelling, and it was, I don't want to say it was necessarily dry, because it wasn't dry, but it wasn't our normal game. It wasn't the normal crazy Conrad stuff that we've, you know, normally doing. It was a more, you know, set in reality, and I think it obviously by design, because that's, you know, that's the nature of the game. So, you know, Conrad wanted to kind of do it justice there. But what I really appreciated about Mashed, and I might be stealing your thunder here with this, I'm not sure, is just the level of like detail that and I apologize, the creator's name is escaping me at the moment.
Mark Clemens.
Thank you, Mark Clemens. That Mark actually put into the game. It was like you kind of like scrolling through the PDF. It was like looking through a history book.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and also like when you set up, it's a Powered by the Apocalypse game. It set in the Korean War, and he addresses like all the things about women's place in the military. I mean, it again, if you're into military history, it's a brilliant game, but it's also one that a lot of folks have talked about possible veteran use, because it's Powered by the Apocalypse, but it's deep. And like you were mentioning, that clock ticking down, I know you're going to probably go into more detail on that, but just that weird triage medical, like that, it's that's one of the reasons I made the recommend to you guys for that, because just that the whole system. Like, I love how there's this thing where you literally plot your camp, like your base.
Yep.
Everybody who's in this base, like, you have a roster, like,
Yeah.
that you could do. It's so detailed, but it's amazing.
Right. No, it was cool. And I really did get that whole like mashed unit feel, just especially from watching the show and I mean, I've probably seen it, maybe not 42 playthroughs, but at least a couple with how often my dad had it on at the house, growing up. But I definitely got that feel. It had that vibe and everything. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. It was certainly different than everything else we played, but I enjoyed it.
I had made everybody's characters very close to, like, well, one who I thought that they would like be able to most easily slip into, because there's so many things to think about already. So it's like I don't want to like add too much to like what they have to think about as a character. So like Nate's character, instead of Nathan Lindbergh, he's Ethan Lundberg, and he's a warrant officer in like the motor pool. So he's like, into like repairs of like machinery and stuff. And I'm like,
Nice.
They can like repair computers and like, like it's like not that big of a stretch for like what he could be doing.
Yeah.
I did try to get in a few of like, my sort of signature weird characters. I'm trying to like look at the some of the names here. There's one that I was so proud of that I think you guys never even came across. Where is it? You guys did meet Hen Screech McNeil, I think.
We did. I think we did, yeah.
You guys met Beef Welsh.
Yes.
It was who was controlling the switchboard, McJingles McNichols.
Jingles McNichols. That sounds like a failed mascot for a restaurant.
It does, doesn't it? Like
Jingles McNichols.
Or like a sports team, but not like a big sports team, like a local, like AAA sports team or something.
He's like the he was in a pro game once.
Yeah.
You've never seen McJingles McNichols pitch? Are you kidding? That guy had a knuckleball from hell.
Oh man.
I'm sorry, I'm breaking Conrad here.
Hey, that's okay.
No, that's great. That's like the type of reaction I want from my characters. But no, they're mostly like real characters that I was like, well, I mean, nicknames were certainly commonplace, so let's get a few in there where I can have some fun with that. And then you get Hen Screech and McJingles McNichols.
Awesome.
It's great. It's great. All right. Well, you know what? I think with that, I'm going to say we're going to wrap up this episode of the Degecast here because we've been going on for a little while now. So with that, I am your host, Nate Lindbergh. Like I said, find me on Twitter, Nate Lindbergh, and find our brand on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at Deej Time. Conrad, say goodnight.
Night, everybody. Look forward to TAGGS.
Yes, look forward to TAGGS. Look forward to check out Goblinville. Check out all of the other amazing events that are going to be going on throughout the weekend. And Jack, one more time, where can they find all the information and everything for TAGGS?
They can go to www.taggsummit.org to find all the info on our schedule, our presenters, how to get tickets for yourself. You can purchase a pass for the event directly, or you can get the add-on of our media pass, which means you'll have access to all of the recorded content, and our goal is to record as much as possible for the weekend, so it will be available on the site for folks for a year after the event that they can go back and watch all the presentations. It's very affordable. The media pass plus in person is only $75 ticket, and remember also that proceeds from the event do go benefit the missions of the Bodhana Group and Geek Therapy. So it is not only for the proliferation of information, but it also goes for charity and benefit programs for folks that need them. So, yeah.
Beautiful. All right. So yeah, we'll check that out, and we're looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it, and it should certainly be a great time, guys. This has been another episode of the Degecast. We'll see you next time.